So we have our character in 3D Studio Max, and the character is rigged with biped. So we're going to be creating a jump with using biped tools. And before we get started, let's take a look at a jump, the dynamics of a jump. We have our beginning pose, which is very exaggerated in terms of anticipation. You know, it's getting ready, the arms are back, the torso is almost horizontal, what you say, and the knees are down, so the torso is a little bit lowered, and is leaning forward. And then as it goes up, it stretches and then catches the legs up, you know, kind of going back to getting ready to go down, and then puts the feet down and catches the weight. Okay, so let's get started with setting our initial pose. Okay, so let's go back to 3D Max, and let's say that we're going to use maybe 1 second of animation. Okay, so it's going to be a quick jump, pretty fast, 1 to 2 seconds. So let's change the time, because we have the timelines here is showing 100. So let's go to the time configuration here, the one that looks like a little clock. And on the length, I'm going to select 24 and press OK. And that will change our timeline to reflect our time from 0 to 24. So it's going to be a little bit more manageable. I'm going to press Ctrl R and kind of use the middle mouse button to give a little bit of a side view, but not completely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the grid for reference. So he's going to jump from the back point of the grid there to this front point. Okay, and it doesn't have to be that way. I just do it so that you can see the reference. So let's start with our guy position. Okay, so for that I'm going to select the main node for our character, and I'm going to select the move tool. If I do that, you see that's the one that you're going to be using for moving the character. So I'm going to move it all the way back, and I am going to show you where are the biped tools that we're going to be using. So we're just using the keyframing tools for today's lesson. So let's go to the motion tab, the one that looks like a little wheel over there, and let's open the key info tab. Okay, and if you notice that these are the keys that we're going to be using: the set key, set planted key, and set sliding key. I am going to start with, if you notice that we can't set any keys right now on that main guy node. So I'm going to start with auto key over here. So let's set auto key on frame 0 with our move tool, this one here, select it. Let's just move him a little bit, you know, wiggle him a little bit in the y-axis to set a key on y-axis. Okay, and since we're going to be working on the z-axis too, I'm going to just kind of wiggle it on the z-axis too to set the 2 keys for axis, y and z-axis that we're going to be working with. And I'm going to set auto key to off, and that way we have set up our initial key. Now you can see that you can set a key for that node in the future using the biped tools. Okay, it's kind of like a way to initializing the keyframing. So if you move the character up and down, see what happens. The feet go through the ground, and if you notice on that pose, we can lower the torso, but the feet need to be kind of bent. So let me show you what you can do. You can select one, the foot node, right, the big one there. And on the key info section, let me close everything else, collapse everything, every other section, so that you can see this one better. There, now we have a set planted key and a sliding key option. The set planted key is going to allow you to set that key, that foot, to not go through the floor plane. So let's put it up on frame 0. Let's set planted key, and when you do that, you're going to notice there is now a key that sets there. So let's see what that did. Let's go back to that guy node over there, and with the move tools it's still selected. Notice that now the foot stays on the ground. That's what, sorry, Control Z, there you go. And now the foot stays in place. I'm going to do the same for the other foot. So I'm going to select it, go to set planted key. Now we have a key over there, and now both feet are going to stay on the ground. Perfect. Now we can lower our character, right? And then what we're doing is lowering him and making him go forward, right? To preparing for that jump. So I'm going to select the rotate tool over here. And with that node still selected, I'm going to lean him forward. Okay, as far as you want. I would say like maybe over there. Press Ctrl R to rotate. Since the back is pretty straight, I'm going to select these 3 nodes over here with the Control key. That's the spine. And with my rotate tool, this one here, still selected, I'm going to make it go forward. You see how nicely it arches the back? So I'm going to arch it a little bit, and now the character is a little bit too far down from what I wanted, but we'll fix it next. So for those, we're going to set a key over here on frame 0, key info. Okay, don't worry about this, we'll fix it next. So let's go back to that guy node and press the move tool and move him down. Okay, there you go. And let's pretty much update that key. Let's set the auto key on and just move it as far down or as you want. And as you see, now it's updated. Okay, let's set key. Perfect. So now we have that pose. We need to define that part. That the next part of the pose is the arms. So let's define how far the arms go. First of all, notice I'm going to go back how the character is kind of going like a T pose right there, like for rigging. So I'm just going to select the rotate tool and select that first node there and put it down. I'm going to do the same for the other. Okay, let's take a look. It kind of looks like what we want. Okay, so we could either we could get, I guess we can start setting the keys there. So let's go set sliding key on frame 0 for the shoulder and for the other shoulder. Sliding key. And the next thing we need to do is work with the hand. Okay, so let's select the hand. It's this one here, and let's just it's probably gonna be easier if we just rotate the elbow. So let's just rotate the elbow. Select this one, the forearm, and with the rotate tool, determine how much you want to rotate it. Not in that axis, in the red axis. No, the blue actually. There you go. Okay, maybe that's okay. I don't know. I think that looks good to me. And let's set the sliding key on frame 0. And if you notice now, the arm is kind of doing something strange. So let's just rotate the arm, and it will actually push back a little back the elbow, which is okay. We want that. And then let's set a sliding key on frame 0. So we have our first side of the pose. Now let's do the same for this one, right? We rotated this one on the z-axis. So let's set a key, and we're still on frame 0. And let's rotate the hand a little bit. That actually pushes back that elbow, which is good. And set sliding key. So we have set the key for the arm, the elbow, and the shoulder on both arms. Okay, so far we don't have anything else. You know, you can we can work on the head if you want, you know, maybe a little bit like that, and set a key for it. Okay, and oh, we have auto key on. We should have had that off a while ago. So let's work on the next pose then. So make sure you set auto key off once you do the main node. Let's set our next pose. Our next pose is the jump, the actual jump, and it's the highest point on the jump. So we're gonna work on this pose next. since we're doing it 24 frames, I'm sorry, 24 frames jump, you could put the jump at maybe frame 12. So on frame 12, which is halfway from 24, we're going to define that pose. Notice that it's very high. The arms compared to this one are forward now instead of back. And it's less horizontal. The torso is still bent, but less horizontal than the other. And the feet are now kind of behind the character. So let's define that pose. Let's go to frame 24. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is we need to move the position of the guy to be kind of halfway on our pose. So I'm going to select the main node for the guy first. And with the move tool, here's when the fun starts. Just pick him up, and it looks like right now like a rag doll. I'm going to move it forward, and I'm going to set auto key on, and I'm just going to move a little bit the position. Oh, sorry about that. That was my mouse. On frame 12, auto key, move him forward. Okay. That way you set the position. Okay. And remember to set auto key off. We forgot that before. Okay. So the position is a little bit less. Let's actually turn it on a little now for rotating this. It's less horizontal than the other one. Okay, so I'm just going to set auto key off now. Whenever you work with that controller, if you don't see the keys here, you can always use the auto key. Then the feet are going to be kind of behind the character, but they're going to be having the knees bent. Okay, so I'm going to rotate first my foot, and I'm going to move it as far or as low as you want, and so it looks good to me there. So on frame 12 still, I'm going to set a sliding key. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for the other one. I'm going to rotate first, and I'm going to move it. You don't want to, unless you really want to, you don't have to make the feet go exactly at the same height or anything, or just mimic each other at the same, because you want to make the movement a little bit more random. Maybe one leg stretches more or one arm stretches more, so it will look more flowing. So on frame 12 still, I'm going to set a sliding key, and then now your key is over there. Okay. So notice that if you zoom in, the tip of the toes are kind of bent. So I'm just going to rotate that. Rotate it, and still on frame 12, set sliding key. Same thing for the other foot. I'm going to select it. Still on frame 12, I'm going to set a sliding key once I fix it. Sliding key. Perfect. Okay, and the hands, as we said before, now are going to be forward, right? I'm going to add, remember that we also did a little bit of bending forward on the spine, right? So I'm going to select with control the 3 nodes for the spine, and I'm going to just for that, I'm making it a little bit different. Just rotate it back and set a key. And your key is set over here. Okay, and the arms now are going forward. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate the arm, select that shoulder node, rotate the arm, and let's take a look at the reference. It's going to be a little bit further forward, more in front of the face than going through the face on the side view. So I'm not gonna do it that much, and I'm gonna set a sliding key. Okay, and let's see, we could rotate the arm a little bit and maybe push it back so that it angles a little bit the elbow. So let's set a sliding key over there. And let's do the same for the other arm. I'm just simplifying it. Other shoulder, move it up on the z-axis, right? About there. It doesn't have to exactly match. On frame 12, set a sliding key and select your hand and move it a little bit further back on the y-axis with the move tool over here, just to bend a little bit the elbow. I don't like to lock the elbows on that pose. So set your key and let's test the pose. Okay, so let's see, we should come from down position, right, from the start anticipation. We could even still maybe rotate this shoulder a little bit more to make the movement a little bit more exaggerated if you want, and update the key on 0. So he jumps, he goes up, and he's on frame 12. Okay, good. So far so good. You know, you can tweak a little bit more. I think this arm is a little bit further down, you know, further inwards from, maybe do that, you know, help it not go as close. And this is the beauty of this. You can always go to the frame on 12, you know, or whichever frame you want, and update it. Sliding key. Good. You can rotate more the feet if you want, but I think it's okay for now. So then we have our final pose, which is very similar to the one that we just created, right? It's pretty much almost the same, but we're probably going to just change the position of the face. By the way, on the face here, you can just leave it, you know, as a normal neutral, you know, facing forward pose, and it will not hurt. So on the last pose, on frame 24, we're going to be moving our whole character back down again. And don't worry if this happens, you know, we'll fix everything now. And he'll be probably over here, right? So let's set an auto key. Put auto key back on, and on frame 24, make sure you're on frame 24 over here. Let's set our keys for both Z and Y axis. Let's set auto key to off, okay, and go back to the other tools. The arms need to be further forward. So let's set a key on these. So I'm just selecting one hand for now. And set sliding key. We'll have to rotate that hand next, but let's get them into pose first. Make sure that it's there, sliding key, and I'm going to go back to those. So go frame 24, let's do the feet, which are bothering me tremendously. Okay. Oh, first let's rotate them first. Usually rotation comes first. And then move. Okay, that way you don't lose it doesn't snap. In this case, I want to go to the side view, which is not set up, so let's set it up here. So let's go on the left view, just for reference on how far we're going to move that foot. Okay, and probably put him here. And set the sliding key over there for frame 24. We can always go and fix this toe that is not looking very good. So let's fix that toe, frame 24, and then let's do the other foot. Okay, so let's rotate first so that we don't snap it. So let's put it kind of horizontal, and then move. So move tool, go down, and move it forward. Okay, I'm using the grid as reference. So, and then I go on that toe that doesn't look right, and oh, I forgot to set the key. So let's move that guy back down, go down, and set the key because we need to set the placement on frame 24. And let's rotate that toe that was bothering me so much and set sliding key. Okay, we did also have some rotation here on the back, so I'm just going to select again the spine nodes, and this is how we added the rotation first, right? We went on the rotate tool and we went to set key over here, and we set the key for the 3 of them. Okay, you can add a little variation to the pose, you know, when you jump. It doesn't have to be the same as you are going to take off, as in when you land on your feet. Okay, still on frame 24. Let's rotate a little bit the hands. We are looking kind of strange. Yeah, it's kind of too far in, so let's update that rotation key and let's move it back out. We might need to, let's go sliding key. We might need to work on the rotation. Remember, we added a little bit of rotation to the arm, so you could maybe position it like that or further out, and update that key on frame 24 and then recreate that effect on the other hand. So if you rotate a little bit, let's set a key and let's find the other shoulder, which is over here, and it's a little bit too far out. Let's let's update this guy here. Let's take a pick of the hand node over here, and probably move it out a little bit. Maybe rotate a little bit first and move it down. Okay, so let's set that key. Something is the elbow is not looking right, so let's go back to that elbow and kind of push it out a little bit. There you go, that's better. And probably we might need to rotate a little bit more, and I will do this pose a little bit closer on the body, that kind of when you catch your weight, then you know, the elbows closer to the body when you catch your weight than when you're gonna take off or get out of the ground. You know, that's something that you don't see here, but it's a natural reaction of the body to kind of put your elbows closer when you're breaking a fall. Okay, so that's what we were doing. Oops, when I got out, something got skewed, so I will do it that way and probably come to this one and put the arm closer, kind of embracing more the position, and there, and update. You know, you can always tweak it back and forth. You know, that's I'm just trying to make the elbows a little closer. Okay, and that's it. Let's see how it looks. It comes from, I know that in betweens are completely crazy right now, but it comes from that pose to this pose. Perfect. This is the eye node. Don't worry about that staying behind. I'm just gonna move it forward very far away. That way when the character is all the way back here, it's not gonna bother us. Okay, perfect. So you have the main 3 positions so far. You have the, you know, the initial pose for anticipation, the jump, and the catching. When we come back, we're going to work on the in-betweens for those 2 poses, and we're going to create our final animation render.